Hello, so today I want to clear up the carb confusion constantly circulating in conversations, and yes, you did love that alliteration. So what do I mean by this? It's the notion that somehow eating carbohydrates late in the evening causes a greater amount of fat gain. Now, if that was true, that means that somehow the time of the day affects the calorie content of those foods, which, when you sort of say it out loud, does sound a little bit ridiculous. Calories in versus calories out, as we know, is what dictates fat gain, fat loss, or weight maintenance. No one food group, whether that be carbs, fats, proteins, is inherently fattening. It's the excess amount of calories that will cause us to gain body fat. And I can't help but think these anti-carb zealots, if that's what you want to call them, they're not really helping people. They're just creating more confusion, and worse still, making people fear an entire food group. Because let's be fair, carbs are immense. Now, consuming a large number of carbohydrates that would then put you in a calorie surplus will of course be fattening, and maybe reducing some carbohydrate intake with the idea of reducing calorie intake would be a sensible suggestion in that scenario. But why might we see an increase in weight? Now, careful, I put weight and not fat. If we do eat carbohydrates, in this example, later in the evening. So what's going on? So if you eat anything later in the evening, the chances of that food mass still being in somewhere in your digestive tract in the morning when you may go for a weigh-in is higher. It hasn't had time to pass all the way through the system, and there's just a weight of food in your lower intestine. That's not fattening. That's just a case of you have a weight of food in your stomach or part way through your digestive tract. Another property of carbohydrates, which is often overlooked and people play on the information incorrectly, is that typically for every 1 gram of carbohydrate that you consume, we can see 3 to 4 grams of water being absorbed into the system. Again, water weight isn't fat gain, and over the days when you process it, the water flushes out and the weight returns to a normal standpoint. Carbohydrate can get broken down into glycogen, which the body actively stores in the muscle and in the liver because it's a useful substrate to have around should we need to call upon it when we are exerting a lot of physical stress and require the energy. Again, this glycogen storage in the muscle and in the liver causes weight gain. None of what I have just listed has anything to do with an increase in body fat. Like we stated at the start of the video, only an overconsumption of energy in the form of calories will cause fat gain. You can't create mass out of thin air. If you are not consuming enough calories to put you in a surplus, mass cannot just magic from nowhere in terms of fat mass. Weight, with various different manipulations that we've just discussed, can do. So I hope that helps sort of clear things up about the carb confusion. You don't need to cut carbs out, and you don't need to avoid them late at night. Just understand what you're interpreting when you maybe jump on the scale the next day. And also remember that the scale weight potentially isn't the best measure of anything. So just keep that in mind. I hope that helps, guys. If you do have any questions, please drop a comment below and I will be happy to help. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.